Hello you little helmets, it's Revolver84 here, and today we're going to show you some gameplay footage of the day outside the underground for the PlayStation 4 game The Division. So although it's supposed to be procedurally generated environments, and it is, you tend to find that there's only a palette of a very small number of actual rooms. They just happen to be connected in different ways. But to be fair, it still feels relatively fresh because you tend to find that the enemies tend to come in from different places, they tend to be standing in different places. So although I've probably been in this room looking down from this position shooting at people 10 times before now by this point, it's still a new sort of experience because the enemy's never really in the same place sort of twice. Like this guy here, I think that's the first time I've seen someone up there from that position there. So it still feels relatively new, but don't get us wrong, I think after a while it'll feel like it's getting turned into a grind again, mind. But having said that, there is a lot of positives. So this is on challenge mode, that's why all the enemies are level 34 there. And when I bought the underground, I think I was level 202 or something. Yeah, not great. I was at that really awkward sort of place where no one was going to take you in for like heroic levels or challenges, and the incursions just seemed a little bit too difficult to do. But since getting the underground though, I've been dropping loot left, right and centre. I've getting a couple of 268s, I've getting a fair few 240s and stuff and that, and my score's just rocketed over the last couple of days. So like I say, I went from about 202 to about 222. Now that might not sound like a lot of people who don't know the Division very well, but to go up once, even one gear score, usually takes you a fair few missions to do. At best, a fair few dailies or challenges or such like. It's best to get it up like that, and even then you're usually buying the equipment to get your progressed up. This allows us to drop it, so there's always a named enemy at the end who usually drops plenty of Phoenix credits and always at least a gold. But there's also a cache at the end as well, which you can pick stuff up from as well, and every once in a while, don't get us wrong, there's even really good sort of drops. So I've dropped a fair few sort of blind gear sets, Firecrest gear sets, and I think I'm going to do a video on the different gear sets quite soon because I do have a collection of them. So if your objective is to level up your gear score quite fast, this is probably a good place to do it. In terms of how to level up in the underground, that's a different kettle of fish altogether. So I prefer playing on challenge mode purely because of the challenge it gives to us and the entertainment value. But if I was really bothered about progressing up through the underground level at a particularly fast rate, like I'm at level 8 now, I wouldn't go down the whole challenge route because it's only like 500 XP more than hard. So I'd probably just spam the hard ones over and over and over again, putting on as many directives as possible and just getting through as many as I can in as short a period of time as I can. Let's get to the point where I could probably run the hard ones, probably solo if I absolutely had to be fair. But like I say, because of the entertainment, I definitely prefer the challenge levels. So another little mechanic they tried to introduce into the game was things like fire and electrical accidents, I guess you could call them, obstructions, that type of thing. To be fair, it just distracts you from the actual combat. To be fair, it doesn't really present a big challenge. The whole point is that you go to a switch and you switch something off, or you shoot a fire extinguisher and it puts out the fire, or you just run round it, because obviously the route round is usually really obvious. But I guess it's just something to give you to think about other than the combat when you're running in between the main areas for the combat to take place. I suppose this gives you something to do. I guess you'd be a little bit bored if you're just literally running from one location to another location. Yeah, I can't fault them for at least trying to bring something else into the Division other than a bit of combat. But if they were going to bother doing something like that, they should have done something a bit better, though, to be fair. A little bit more challenge. I get that it's procedurally generated, but come on, a bit more of a challenging puzzle or something if you wanted to go down that route. I'm not talking rocket science things, but maybe it's like a keypad door or something, or, you know. I mean, when I'm thinking in terms of the way Destiny had its raids, because that's essentially what these are supposed to be. I guess the incursions are traditional raids, but these are supposed to be not far off, so maybe it's just like a little thing. Maybe it's two guys need to open the door at the same time, something like that, anything like that. Maybe it's just that bring to the game that level of thought that they were clearly looking for when they brought that mechanic out. So I guess for all you snipers out there, I should probably point out that the fields of fire aren't very long. Like, we're not talking Dark Zone long fields of fire or anything. The whole point of the underground is that it is underground, it's very compact, it's very congested, and there's absolutely loads of cover. Like, I don't know if you've noticed this already, but let's face it, everywhere you look there's potential for cover. Not just for yourself, but obviously for the enemies as well. Not that that's a bad thing, it makes it feel quite claustrophobic, but if your plan is to do maybe run like sentry call and sit back and be at the back of your crew and snipe, it's probably not going to work, simply because you'll not be able to see all the guys. The only time that you actually have a long field of fire is when you're running between stations or whatever and you're on the actual tracks of the underground, but very little combat actually happens in them places, and if it is, the best thing to do is to run forward to get the cover, because if you're just standing out in open tracks, you're going to get yourself mowed down. So yeah, like I say, I mean, looking around right now, I'm looking at any one time there's usually about 20 different places you could stand behind and take cover from. So a little tip for you: smart cover. Don't go into the underground without smart cover by at least one or two of your guys. I never don't have it, to be fair. Yeah, it makes sense with the amount of cover available here. So something for yourselves to consider. Oh good, another link room in between combat zones. I'm sick of saying this room, to be fair. So this room, I've literally been in this room about 45 times already, and like I say, I'm only level 8. I guess it's supposed to be like a refuge for the survivors or whatever type of thing, but let's face facts, if you're supposed to be following the story, they've picked a pretty damn stupid place to be to take cover, surrounded by enemy, cut off from the outside world, no access to water, no access to food apart from those vending machines. That wouldn't happen, would it? And it's a bit annoying that they show me that link room virtually every other time I go into the underground, like, oh come on, give us better ones than that, please. So the commentary that's running right now is from some intelligence that I picked up back in that shop I was in earlier before there. Yeah, it is just another collectible type of thing. You might be thinking to yourself, just like on the outside world, you know, like your aerial photographs or your survival guides or whatever, but this one actually adds XP to your underground score, so it is worth picking up. You tend to find that you've probably got like Fog of War on as a directive when you're in the underground, so it'll not pop up on your map. So you'll be very lucky to sort of see it in your peripheral vision or wherever as you're running around. So as soon as you see it, just make a beeline straight for it, because if combat starts, you'll probably forget where it was. So yeah, as soon as you see it, pick it up, because it's definitely worth doing. We're not talking about 1 or 2 bits of experience here. I'm thinking you can get like, you know, 100 XP just for picking it up. I think there's like 66 of them or something to find, and I get the impression they're following the story a little bit as well, because they always seem to be in order. So far, all the ones I've picked up seem to be following like a chronological order, so if you're interested in the story as well, definitely make sure you pick it up. But in practical terms, for leveling, for your underground score, definitely pick it up as soon as you see that. So I've mentioned the directives a couple of times in this video up to this point, so I should probably explain what they are. So the directives are modifiers to basically make the levels even harder for yourselves. There are things like, I say, Fog of War, which takes off your mini-map from your HUD, Waste Not, Want Not, which is if you reload your weapon and there's still ammunition in your gun, you'll lose that ammunition. Little things like that. It does bring a different element of difficulty to it, to be fair. In on challenge mode, they do prove a bit of a challenge, to be fair. It adds an extra something to it. But most importantly as well, especially for your veteran players, they'll not come into the underground without them switched on. So you're best to get used to having them switched on and not having your mini-map or whatever as well. What do? Well, they add extra XP to your underground score. You can have up to 5 running at any one time, and to have them switched on, you have to be the leader of your team, and you have to have the directives, which are, I guess you could call them a currency, something that you pick up when you're in the underground, usually from dropped named characters. You're in the TOC at the start of the underground, and you're selecting your conditions for going into the underground, and you have to select your modifiers using your directives that you've collected. And like I say, you can have up to 5, but you have to unlock them as you're leveling up, obviously, like I said earlier, type of thing. But yeah, just get used to running without them, because pretty much any underground level that you're running, unless you're like an absolute noob running on like normal difficulty or whatever, everyone's going to have all the modifiers switched on, because everyone's trying to level up as fast as possible. So you might as well get used to reloading your weapon at the last possible minute, or even letting it run dry and not bothering looking at your mini-map as much as possible. Just a little tip there for you. So what do I think of the Underground DLC? Well, it was $11.99, and in truth I was getting a bit sick of the Division, like, much more into my other video games, my Elder Scrolls and such like. So it did bring us back, for 12 quid. It has brought us back in, it's brought us a new level of engagement and something else to think about. Combat is excellent. Now that I'm at an appropriate level as well, it's excellent, I should say. I wouldn't like to run these sort of like challenge levels on a lower difficulty. I certainly wouldn't like to be hard carried through, and you probably couldn't hard carry someone through that was a lower level, to be fair, if you had the modifiers switched on. You could probably do it on hard carry someone through without the modifiers switched on as like a noob, but yeah, you couldn't do it otherwise. It is probably a good way of getting good drops relatively quickly. As I said at the start of the video, I did progress really fast in a short period of time after purchasing this. Some of the drops are absolutely fantastic. Alright, the gear sets themselves aren't particularly great. There is some good ones. There's like a one where you have like limited incendiary bullets and such like that's called Firecrest, that one. But yeah, I would say it's value for money for what it is. So like I say, £12, you level up really fast. It brings you back to a game that was starting to go stale. The combat's really fast. I like the environment. I like the way it looks. There's a lot of detail in it. The claustrophobia makes it really intense and really fast-paced. You're never really bored. All right, you're running from one combat zone to another combat zone through like linked buildings, linked rooms or whatever. But you don't really notice, because the transportation between them places through the linked environments doesn't take you longer than like 90 seconds or something. So you're never really more than 2 minutes away from engaging in combat. Would I recommend it? Yeah, you know what it is, I probably would. I haven't purchased the season pass. 'Cause as a general rule, I never really do that for video games, because unless the video game's really good, likelihood is that you'll get bored of it by the time all the DLC comes out. So I haven't bought the season pass, but I've certainly purchased this, and I don't regret it. And now I'm starting to think what the rest of the DLCs are going to come out with, because if it's as good as this, maybe I've made a mistake by not getting the season pass. I'm not going to lie. It's going to have to have a bit of a think there. Maybe I should just do it anyway now, see if it works out value for money. I'll have a think about it. Rating? Well, Division's a pretty good game anyway, and like I say, it was starting to go stale, especially with the Dark Zone being the way it is now. It's ridiculously leveled now, and you get some people in there that ruin it. So Dark Zone combat, it was turned into a bit of a nightmare. So it was almost a PvE exclusive sort of game, really. So yeah, I'm going to probably rate this like 7.5 out of 10, really. Perfect? Oh no, not perfect. The glitches are absolutely serious. I've had some serious glitches. I've glitched going upstairs. It's lost connection. I don't know how many times, probably about 3 or 4 times already. People have been disconnected in my group for no reason. People have frozen when they've been in my group for no reason. So glitches do take place. And it's caused the main game to glitch one. So here you can see the weapon cache that's in the chest there at the end of every single level. 204 there, it's not too bad, I suppose, the gold. And this is the last room you always have at the end of your levels. Your leader has to open the door to complete it. And that's it done. Thanks very much for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Cheers.